Hello, knife community, knife lovers. Folder here. I'm going to do a comparison today on the Buck 110, the original Buck 110 from 1964, and the modern Buck 110. I do actually have a cut on my finger that I sustained using one of my knives. I was doing a push cut through too much material, and a knife slipped off the material and cut my finger. So I can't stress the importance of safety. You know, we all, if you handle things that are sharp, eventually you will sustain a cut. But hopefully, you know, it's not anything too crazy. So you gotta be safe. You gotta be safe. Anyway. So what we have here is the original Buck 110, 60-year-old, approximately almost 60-year-old knife. And, you know, this is the iconic knife. Growing up with this knife, any folding knife was called a Buck knife. You know, if you had a folding knife of any brand in your pocket, or on your person, I should say, because they kind of weren't in your pocket. They were kind of uh, you know, inside these things. So you know, basically, the knife goes in here, and you kind of wear this. You know, it's got the belt loop, and you wear this on your belt, and that's how you carry these knives around. So even if something wasn't a buck knife, any knife inside of a pouch, it was like iconic with the name. So right, so that's the this is the original buck knife, and then this is the buck knife. Well, this is the Buck 110. I should actually say the Buck 110, and this is the modern day version of it, the Buck 110 Slim Pro, which is the exact. Right. So when Buck made this, they wanted to basically take this knife and make it modern. So let's just go over what we have here real quick. We have an extremely heavy knife. I don't have my scale up here, so I'm not even going to weigh it, but this thing is heavy. It's like a brick. You check on the internet, I mean, the weight is incredible, but you're going to be wearing it, carrying it in one of these pouches. So, you know, that doesn't matter that much, I guess, if you're willing to carry this knife. You have the brass bolsters. You have the back lock, enormous, stout back lock on this thing, and the ebony wood inlays. Excuse me, the ebony wood inlays. Yeah, it's stout. It's a very stout construction. Today, many people probably wouldn't want to carry something like this. The blade is a hollowed clip point made of 420 HC steel. It's a budget steel by today's standards, but comparing it to D2, much better corrosion resistance, not as hard, not as tough, not as good edge retention, but corrosion is its thing. Also, something that modern day knives just do not have anymore are these thumbnail cutouts to actually deploy the blade. So this is a two-hand operation. Okay, this is two hands. You know, you have to come over here and you're not flicking this. I wouldn't even try. I probably could, but you end up cutting yourself. The thing could fly back. The detent is just insane on this thing. It could fly back and cut your finger. It's not even necessary. It's not designed for it. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure there are people that could probably do it, but why? So anyway, you deploy it with two hands using this finger groove to catch on. And if you also notice, it's something that cannot be taken apart. Well, not easily. You can take it apart by grinding down these studs and punching these things through and stuff like that, but it's not, there's no maintenance on it. Okay, so ironically, or not, the modern day version is the same exact way as far as the rivets. You know, not to be taken apart. Yeah, you know, forget about the maintenance. It has screws here, T8s, T6s, just to remove, to change the side of the deep carry clip. That's it. And this is the Slim Pro. As you can see, it's much, much slimmer than the old Buck 110. In hand, this thing feels like a brick in hand. And the Slim is much slimmer in hand. This is a modern day knife. It uses G10 and S30V steel, modern steel. Basically the same. Well, no, actually not. So they both have clip point blades. This clip point blade has an upswing, as you can see, and this is a more modern day clip point, which just actually has a switch. Excuse me, I didn't even notice that. So it's actual clip point with a top switch. Yeah, make it a little bit more modern. And of course, the elephant in the room are the thumb studs, which gives it one-hand operation. Still, it has a enormous back lock that unlocks from the tail of the spine, so you're not flicking this thing around like a spider claw. But you can open it one-handed very easily. Closing it is a different story. Even if you release the lock, I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend playing around with these knives. These things are tools that were. This original knife was designed for someone that wanted a folding knife, and you didn't need to carry your fixed blade. So it has a back lock. This lock, you can look at it, man. It goes from back here all the way through the whole spine of the thing, connects right to the blade, and it is locked. I mean, this thing has zero play. It is a bank vault. So yeah, it's pretty serious. But yeah, so they still have the rivets. They use G10. They use modern S30V steel, and so those are the biggest differences. And this has a belt clip that works actually. I mean, a pocket clip. I'm sorry, a pocket clip that works very good. It's a deep carry clip. You can see where the deep carry is right there. And it works excellent. And so this is the deep pocket clip. And this is the pouch. So this has been replaced by this. All right? So there's no need to carry an extra thing on your belt with the modern day knife. This is a big knife. It is a big knife, and a lot of people in modern day times might not want to carry something like this. This is a very good replacement for it. Comparing it to some modern day knives, you have the PM2. I don't like my PM2s dirty when I'm displaying them. Excuse me. Housekeeping. Oh, gosh. Really? Okay. Yeah, so this thing is this thing is longer than a PM2. Yeah, it certainly is longer than the PM2. Blade length. Yeah, it's a long blade. I mean, we can measure it real quick. It's got here's 4 inches. Cutting surface 3.5. Yep, 3.5 cutting surface. Overall blade is 4 inches. So yeah, 4-inch blade. With 4 3/4 handle. I mean, overall we're looking at just a hair under 8.5 inches. So it's it's not a small knife by any means. Put it next to the Demco 80 20.5. Yeah, much bigger than a 20.5. Much bigger. Just an overall much bigger knife. I just used the PM2 and the 20.5 because they're extremely common, popular knives today, used by a lot of people. And you can see this knife. And the new version is identical. It's identical in every way, except the G10 is thinner, lighter, But when you talk about the dimensions, the blade length and the body, they're identical. So it's not a small knife, 8.5-inch knife. you know. But being, you know, being as thin as it is, using G10, very easy to carry in your pocket. Very easy, you know. So, yeah. Um, so I'm comparing the old Buck 10 to the new one, but I'll tell you right now, modern day Bucks come in a lot of versions. I mean, they have a lot. They have automatic versions of this thing that look like this but have a button. There's, you know, there's the legacy one that has G10 in here. I mean, not G10, carbon fiber. Um, there's a lightweight version, you know, that uses, you know, some sort of injected molded, you know, material, plastic or fiberglass or some combination thereof. So the Buck 110 has been modernized. If you want to get one of these, the old fashioned one, they're really cheap. You can get these things extremely cheap. You want to get the newer versions, they're nice. You know, they're a little bit more money. You know, they're gonna cost more money than that. You know, they might cost you $100 or maybe a little more, or probably under 150 though. I think that might be about the top. Actually the legacy version is about $200. So that does, it starts to get up there a little bit. 200 for that one, but that one's really, it's got aluminum here, it's got carbon fiber, it's really modern. Yep, that's it. Yep, so there it is, the old and the new Buck 110. Yep, there it is, very nice. All right, that's all I got.